Over the last few years, you'd have been watching the Masterclass DVD and you'd have seen lots of sections based around some really epic trips across Europe, as well as some highly detailed technical sections across the UK. Now, when we do the shows and things, one of the things that we're asked most of all is, what about a beginner section? There's a lot of you out there that are either just getting back into carp fishing, have just started, or just want to know how to get the basics right. That's exactly what we're here to do today. I've actually brought my cousin along with me. He was the person that first got me into fishing over 20 years ago when we were catching whatever came along on the canal that runs through Malden. But now he's come back into the sport, wants to give carp fishing a go, so it's my turn to help him out. So for the next little while, join us. We're going to show you the basics, how to get them right, and hopefully how to put a few more carp on the bank. We've come to Peterborough on an embryo water known as Pump House. Neither of us have fished here before, so what better way to put my tactics into practice than testing them out myself? So, first things first. Before getting the gear out of the car, we need to locate the fish and get to grips with the setting of our chosen venue for the next couple of days. When locating carp, the most important piece of equipment you'll need is a good set of polarised sunglasses. Right, now before today, you'd never had a set of polarised glasses before, had you?
No, just normal sunnies.
Yeah, which are, you know, good for stopping the sun hurting your eyes, but for sort of seeing what's going on in the lake, they do nothing. What a pair of polarised do is actually take the glare off of the water and allow you to see a bit deeper. So to give you a bit of an example, probably 2 rod lengths out, what can you see at the minute without your glasses on?
Just darkness, a bit of weed. It's literally on the top.
Yeah. Right, now put your glasses on. And literally 2 rod lengths out, you can just see a faint bit of cloud that's come off the bottom.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't, obviously you couldn't see it, and that is a sure sign that a carp has been feeding on something. It's dropped down, stirred up the bottom, and it's having a bit of a route around. But without them, you wouldn't know that. But that, on certain days, can be the difference between you seeing something to fish on or just going blind, and definitely the difference between getting a bite and not.
So polarised sunglasses I've never used in the past. Using them for the first time today was immense, really. It's kind of hard to explain, but just being able to see the weeds that are in front of you that we wouldn't normally see, but then going a bit further than that, than actually seeing what the fish are doing underneath the water and across the water as well.
After doing a full lap of the lake and seeing some promising areas that looked like they could hold carp, we didn't see anything to actually confirm this. Whereas on the other side, it's been a different story. This could be a really good starting point, mate. It's certainly a lot more activity well, all the activity we've seen is this end.
Yeah.
The other end looks wicked. If you were to turn up and going by what the weatherman was saying, you think nice warm wind, blowing down to a snaggy margin, that might be where you'd head. But ultimately, this is where we've seen the fish.
Yeah.
It's always nice to be able to see as much of the lake as possible when you're on a new lake for the first time.
So we can move if needed.
You've got it, mate. So we're literally here, we can see the whole lake, and if they do start moving, we're travelling light, we're only doing days, we can up sticks, get down there within probably 10 minutes and start again. Go and get some kit.
Let's do it.
Come on. How long till you get your first bite? That's the question. Now, whether you've been fishing for 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 weeks, 30 years, the first thing you do when you get to the lake should pretty much always be the same, and that is have a good look around to see if you can find the thing you actually want to catch. And AJ, to be fair, he was on the lookout for carp. That's one of the best things to look out for, things jumping out of the water, and luckily he saw a couple over in one of the corners, so we've chosen a swim based on that, where we can get as close to them as possible, because let's face it, if there's no carp in front of you, you ain't catching squat. At least this way, we could get a bite very, very quickly. I'll do everything, shall I? Well done, mate. Being relatively new to carp fishing, AJ first needs to put line on his reels. We're going to be using Touchdown, which is a very low stretch monofilament that's strong, supple and incredibly reliable. What I do is place it into a bucket of water and allow it to soak for about 15 minutes. This allows the line to absorb water, which helps it go onto the reel much tighter. Next, we thread the line through the butt eye and tie it onto the spool using a grinner knot, ensuring it's pulled down as tight as possible before trimming off the tag end. You then begin to wind in, ensuring that the line is held under tension between your thumb and forefinger. Keep winding at a steady pace, making sure that the spooler line is spinning upright in the bucket and not overrunning itself, which could cause tangles. Partway into this process, stop winding allow the line to go slack near the butt eye, and if the line starts to twist up around it, then simply lie the spooler line in the bucket on its side and continue. Stop winding when the line is level with the lip of the spool on the reel. Having a correctly loaded reel will reduce friction when the line is coming off the spool during the cast, helping it to go further. AJ's been carp fishing for a little while, but he freely admitted that he'd heard about feeling the donk or feeling the lead down, and he didn't know how to do it, so had never done it before. And it is quite simply one of the most important things you can learn as a carp angler, because until you know what you're fishing on, you've got no idea really if your rig's presented or not. Just before the lead hits the surface of the water, trap the line with your finger.
Right.
And as you sort of hold it back, you get the rod to that sort of position, and you can actually feel the lead pulling the rod down through the water.
Yeah.
And when it hits the bottom, you feel the tip. You'll feel it donk. You'll feel that lead hitting the bottom.
Right, okay.
After that, you just pull the lead. It's just pulled. You can feel it sliding along. It is still pulling up to weed. I found a spot myself, had a good lead around, found a nice clean area of clay, and showed Adrian that when you pulled it back through, the lead moved nice and smoothly, which indicates it's a clay or sandy type bottom, and you know that you can present a bottom bait rig nice and effectively. Once I'd found the spot and clipped it up, I handed the rod to Adrian and explained that he had to hit the clip whilst the lead was still about 6 to 10 foot above the water, cushion the lead down, and then slowly hold the rod and allow himself to almost be pulled down as the lead is going through the water and watching the tip, and you can see it, and thankfully he did after a few casts. You can notice it and feel it when you get that all-important donk. Now remember, slow pull across, right, and then you've got to try and whip it up. And keep the rod up and real high, keep it like that, keep it like that. Look at that, straight away. Oh, he's got the cast, he's got the rod up, he's feeling it down, he's got the donk.
Finally managing to feel that lead down, it makes so much difference. You know that the lead's solid on the ground, you know that your bait's laying away from the lead, bait in the water that's actually going to catch you more fish ultimately.
Right mate, I know it feels like a long time coming, I know we've covered a lot already, but finally, you're ready to get your first rod out.
Let's do it.
Excited?
Very much.
Gonna do it first time?
Yeah, no pressure.
Go on then. I'm gonna stand back here, I'm gonna watch. If it is wrong, I will make you redo it.
Okay.
Even though there was a small PVA bag attached to the rig, I wanted AJ to catapult out a few additional pouches of the cell to act as an additional attractor to get the carp in the area and sniffing around. But we're not quite ready to sit back and relax just yet. Right mate, I've let you you've got your rod out, I've let you put it on your bite alarm as you would if you were fishing currently. Now there's a couple of, not massive changes, but certainly in this situation there's changes I would make to that.
Okay.
To start with, what we saw over there, we saw a couple of fish really close in, didn't they? And there's nothing that would make me think they wouldn't come around close in here as well. And at the moment, I feel that with over half of your rod sort of sticking out over the water, that could spook them. I'm not saying it would do, but it could do. And secondly, you're fishing a really, really tight line. We're not fishing very far out. You might be 30 yards out. And at the moment, you've got a really tight line going all the way to the lead, which means you've got a line cutting through your swim. It's not particularly deep. We think about 5 foot deep. And at the moment, you've got a big line running right through the middle. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to slacken off. And I'm going to just help you move everything back a little bit. Other than that, the way you've got it pointed almost directly at the spot is brilliant for indication. A straight line is always the sort of the quickest way to get any form of indication on your rod. Like I say, we're just going to bring it back, slacken off a bit, and hopefully watch that stove fall off when you get a bite.
Cool, let's do it.
Do it. It might seem like I'm being picky, but these little tweaks really can increase your chances of catching. The right-hand rod, he did all himself. He found an area, he's clipped up to it, he's clipped on his rig and his PVA bag, absolutely nailed it. Here we go. That's the way, bro. That's the way. Take your time, take your time, take your time. AJ, let go of the line, mate, that's it. Right, make sure your clutch is loose enough to let that take line off the front, yeah?
Oh,
Absolute disaster. AJ's had his first bite of the day. Unfortunately, he's suffered a hook pull. Carp are incredibly powerful creatures, and if you've not got your clutch set absolutely perfectly, that's what happens. They can't take enough line, and you just end up pulling the hook out of its mouth. Take your time. Now this is the bit, AJ. I know you've obviously caught quite a few carp, but when a fish gets this close in, there is virtually zero stretch in the line. So it's now making sure that your clutch is set nice and loose. So if he does want to go, he can quite easily take the line, because otherwise, if it's too tight, well, you know what can happen. It can pull the hook straight out of its mouth. But it sounds like you've got it absolutely bob on at the minute.
Chuck the landing net my way, please.
No, mate.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Steep learning curve. Imagine if he was fishing on his own, the landing net should be in the right position already. Shouldn't it, AJ?
It should.
Just take your time. It's only just behind you. We've all been there. Literally, I would be guilty if you lost it, but I'm still going to make you do it, all right?
Especially now, I've seen it's a very
nice, lovely looking carp, isn't it? That's it, mate. As long as you keep a tight line, you can plan it off the clutch. There you go. That is a banger, AJ. Wait till it's properly over the net before you engulf it, all right? Another common mistake, it gets this close, you see people literally throwing the net out in desperation, and what you can end up doing is just knocking the fish off the hook. Wait till it's over the net cord, on its way to the spreader block, and then just engulf the whole thing. Rod coming, carry on slowly over your back. Put your left hand on your landing net. Keep the rod. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Lift. Yes! Get in there. Yes! Well done, mate.
Okay.
That is a banger, that. That is an absolute banger. So with the fish safely in the net and not going anywhere, it's time to get both rods back on the money. So all we do, mate, don't even worry about putting your bobbin on just yet. And then we'll keep an eye on it. Your line's gradually going to sink. What will happen, where it's sinking, your line will naturally become tight again because it's going down. We already know that spot's a bit deeper.
Yeah.
So if your line gets really tight, just simply pay off a little bit more line and follow that process until your line is almost hanging straight down from the tip. You then know that it's laying flat across the bottom, but it's all the way from here to your spot, nothing to spook the fish.
So fish can just ride straight over the top without
Exactly,
getting
mate.
caught up.
Without getting scared.
Buzzing, heart's pounding. So yeah, can't wait to get it out of the sling and in my arms.
Before removing the fish from the water, we always transfer it into the tracker retention sling. The sling floats, which makes the process much easier than one that doesn't. When getting into carp fishing, carp care should be a far higher priority than an expensive pod or a two-man bivvy, for example. Throughout this process, you must make sure that the carp's fins are laying flat against its body, as failure to do so could cause irreparable damage to the fish. The scales have already been zeroed using the wet sling, so the fish is going to be weighed correctly. If you don't zero your scales, your fish could appear significantly heavier than it actually is. £20.12, mate.
Nice.
Well done. What a first fish. Let's have one of them. It's just over the magic £20 barrier. Lovely big scales all over it, and what a brilliant way to start his session. How you feeling, mate?
Ecstatic. One more now.
Quality. Is that your second ever 20-pounder?
Yes.
Wicked. What a carp, mate. Propolis carp liquid has been designed to aid fast healing. Although a carp scale will grow back in a matter of weeks, if you notice damage like you can see here, it should always be treated. Once you have located a spot, it's important that you know exactly where you were fishing. Last thing you want to do, get your rod all sorted, have a bite, and then think, where did I have it from? There's a few simple rules to make it really, really simple. First and foremost, once you've found the area, have a look at the horizon line. Look for something that's the highest point, the lowest point, and work out exactly what you're in line with. So if you are fishing at night, you'll still see it because it will still be silhouetted in the night sky, but even in the day, you know exactly what you're aiming at. And then secondly, using distance sticks, you can mark out by counting the wraps exactly how many rod lengths you're fishing. Once you've had the fish, you want to get it back out there, it's a case of redoing it, line in the clip on your bag, whatever it may be, straight back on the spot again. Hitting the clip and landing the baited rig in exactly the same spot got AJ another quick bite. This is the key to multiple takes in one day. Many people think we've got a bait and a rig they cannot use and that is our secret. Well, there are no secrets. Accurate fishing is the edge. Once again, we slip the fish into the sling before it comes out of the net to protect it as much as possible when it's lifted out of the water. We never lift it in the net as this is the easiest way to break a fin, pull off a scale, or damage its mouth. The first day ended with 2 fish landed, which just goes to show that these basic tips can get the rod bending. But tomorrow's another day and we still have lots to cover. Huge patches of bubbles like this directly over the spot are a great indicator that carp are feeding. More uniform sets of bubbles can often be gas escaping from the lake bed, but big moving patches like these ones are almost definitely carp.
As I was playing it, it crossed over the second rod, and my immediate fear was that it was going to tangle with the second rod, but thankfully Neil mentioned that where we had it on a slack line, it meant that it could quite nicely play over the line and meant that I could pull it back without it interfering with the other rod. It's now in the net, so we've got another one to weigh and have some photos with. Nice common. So since recasting the right hand rod, we've seen 2 fish show. We've had a liner already, so we're going to leave it where it is and see how the day plans out on that rod.
Because AJ is fishing on a firm clay lake bed, we're using a simple leg clip setup, and I'm going to show you how to set it up. Now, first and foremost, before you thread the tubing onto your main line, take a sharp pair of scissors and cut your main line to a point, because that will just ensure that the threading process is even easier. We're going to put a short length of rig tubing on. A length of about 10 inches is absolutely perfect. Next up, you take your tail rubber and you thread the thin end onto your main line first, and that's followed by the leg clip, and exactly the same, thin end first. Once that's done, we're choosing to use ready tied rigs today to keep it really simple. It's a crank setup, just utilising a 7-turn knotless knot to a size 4 or a size 6. We're sort of chopping around between the two. And that's tied using camo hook link, a loop at the end, which is in turn tied to a size 8 swivel. Once you've tied your main line to that swivel using a 5-turn grinner knot, you then pull it inside the leg clip. And you know you've got it right because you'll hear a loud, audible click as it goes in. Once that's done, you can slide your lead into place onto the leg clip, then make sure that you just moisten the top of the leg clip with some saliva, put the tail rubber on top of that, and then followed by the rig tubing, which all plugs up nicely. Now, whilst this is an incredibly simple setup, don't be fooled into thinking that it's just for beginners. Anglers to the likes of Darryl Peck, Miles Gibson, that's their go-to method. A leg clip and a bit of tubing is what they use first and foremost. It will work everywhere. It's really easy to get caught up in the amount of different hook baits you can buy from a tackle shop, but here we're keeping it uber simple. All we're using is a mainline 15mm bottom bait with a few different coloured tippers on the top. And what we've done to, again, make it even easier, mainline, do some self-flavoured 10ml pink and white pop-ups. So you're getting 2 colours in the same pot. I've actually separated the 2 colours. I've put some almond goo on the pink ones to give them some extra attraction. On the white one, gone with buttercorn goo as well for exactly the same reason. Now again, there are over 20 flavours of goo in the range. You can buy whichever ones you want and have a play with, but by far, the almond one is one of the biggest sellers, it's one of the most productive, and the buttercorn, being one of the newest ones in the range, has already proved itself as a firm favourite for a lot of people. And finally, we've just gone with some flavoured corn. Again, loads to choose from, but the yellow IB flavoured pop-up one is by far the biggest seller. That's a lot down to the flavour, the colour, it mimics a bit of sweet corn, and it just adds that little bit of brightness on the bottom. Perfect. Once we've got the chosen hook bait all set up on the rig, we then tying up some really small PVA bags just to make sure that it remains tangle free during the cast and to give the hook bait that added boost of attraction once on the bottom. And as soon as that hits the bottom and AJ's felt the donk down, that's when he's putting the rod on the floor and he's catapulting some matching self freebies in 15mm all the way around it. Absolutely perfect, but most importantly, nice and simple.
We haven't had a bite for about an hour now, so it's going a bit quiet, trying to decide what to do, whether to reel in and recast again. But the right hand rods, we move slightly when we recast from the last fish. Rather than the 8.5 wraps, we went 9 3/4 because we see more fish showing a bit further along the bank, and it's just gone off again. Yes! Whew.
Eight and a half. Straight after returning this lovely common, AJ's in again on the left-hand rod.
Yes! So with the left-hand rods, we haven't had a bite all morning, and usually I wouldn't change bait. I'd normally keep on the same bait, but Neil advised to change from the pop-up that we were using over to sweet corn. So we did that to give it a bit of different colour, and now we've just pulled out this lovely mirror. Ecstatic, it's fantastic.
Cool. Let's get it back.
The change to the IB corn really made a difference and was keeping AJ well and truly busy on the left-hand rod.
IB corn again. Yes.
Right, mate, I've just noticed that you're getting your rod ready to go out, which I like to see. However, what I don't like to see is the fact you've got a bit of coily line going on here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Now, basically, what happens when you're playing your fish using the clutch, when the fish is taking line off the bite and run system at the initial part of the fight, all of that is adding twist to the line.
Right, okay.
Now, to be fair, it might not have any impact, but it could weaken it. And you've also got to be checking for damaged line all the time. You've had a few fish that have brought you in through weed, so it's worth, when you reel in, just feeding the line between your fingers, and just if you feel any slight dinks, it's worth investigating just to make sure it's not damaged, because it's monofilament. When there's nothing wrong with it, it's incredibly strong.
Okay.
As soon as it's got a little dink out of it, it can snap like cotton, so you've got to keep on top of it and keep looking after it.
Okay.
But what we're going to do, before you do that, we're going to cut your rig off, take the tubing and tail rubber, leg clip, take it all off,
Yep.
take off probably 2 rod lengths worth of line, and then it'll be as good as new. You just re-thread it all, get it back out there.
Sounds good.
Leave it with you.
Thank you.
Well done, mate. With the rod sorted and back on the spot, it was time to take some photographs of this lovely common.
Amazing. I've got a sneaking feeling it'll be another 20.
In my opinion, one of the biggest game changers in recent years of carp fishing is a set of distance sticks. To be able to get your rig back out from the exact position you've just had a carp from, in my opinion, makes such a difference to turning a 1 or 2 fish trip into a 5 or 6 fish trip. It's simply a case of remembering where you clipped up in the first place by putting your lead next to the stick, marking it around, counting the wraps. As long as you remember that number, remember your horizon marker, you can get it back there every time. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, we make a set. They are very expensive because in our opinion they do exactly what they're meant to do, but give you a load of added extras as well. Being able to screw it into any ground is a massive advancement. Having the grooves in the side so that the line can actually sit into them to stop it from pinging off is a great help as well. There's none of this big bird's nest coming off and making you have to cut loads of line off and get rid of it. But you know what? You haven't got to use them. You're better off using something. We're actually using just a couple of very bog standard bank sticks. As long as you mark them out exactly the same and you're careful when you wrap them out, they will still do the same job. We're not saying you have to use the expensive Korda ones, but by using something, you will help yourself get more fish on the bank. More fish on the bank is exactly what happened with AJ yet again in on the left-hand rod. This time, a lovely scaly mirror. What are those?
What are you doing?
Who's gone, mate?
Yes.
Carp fishing equipment in the last 10 years really has come on in leaps and bounds. Now, if you'd go back 10 years, maybe 15 years, and you bought a cheap carp rod, that's exactly what you'd get, a cheap carp rod. Same goes for reels. You spend less money years ago, you got a lesser performance. However, the tackle that you can get today, which is reasonably priced, will still deliver you a high performance that some higher priced stuff years ago would have given you. On this session, AJ's opted to use the Daiwa Mission rods in 3.5 pound test curve. They're forgiving enough when playing fish of any size, but if he turns up to a lake and he's got to cast into a headwind, the rod's suitable. If he's just flicking rods 50 yards down the margin, the rod's suitable. It will literally do everything that you need it to do, and it's not going to break the bank. It's a stylish, sleek rod that looks the part when it's sat on the rest, and it's delivering the performance that you need it to. And similarly with the reel, he's using a Daiwa Emblem 25 bite and run reel, which gives him the free spool mechanism when he needs it, but as soon as he picks up into the fish and starts to wind, it engages the front spool. Now, me personally, I actually prefer a back wind facility, which the reel still offers, but Adrian's used to using sort of the clutch when playing a fish, so it's perfect for him as well. Once again, it looks the part on the rest. It's not too big, it's not too small, it perfectly sits in the middle, and maybe in years to come when he wants to fish it extreme range, he might have to upgrade, but until then, it's doing everything that he needs it to. With the session drawing to a close, there was still time left for one more beautiful mirror. Over the last couple of days, AJ has learnt so much that he can add to his carp fishing armoury. The best thing and the reason that's happened is because he's had such a great willingness to learn.
For me, the standout highlight, if I was to pinpoint one thing, it's probably got to be the donk. Throughout this session, you know, I felt every weight go down. I know that the rig is in perfect presentation, and that's been shown. You know, we've caught all day long, and it's been immense. So that for me has to be the highlight of this whole session.
As always, whenever we learn something new or learn to do something different, there's always a few things that really stand out. Now for me, watching him over the last 2 days, and he was a little bit nervous of holding fish of over 20 pounds, to now doing everything on his own, from transferring it safely into a weigh sling, checking all the fins are always flat, taking it onto the mat, making sure his water's ready. He had his carp care kit ready at all times. He absolutely nailed it. And even being able to teach somebody to do that, it's been great for me as well, and great to see the smile on his face and all the wicked carp he's caught.
For me, the biggest memory I will take away from this session is when we were weighing in the last fish, the crew all mentioned how much I'd improved as an angler. Now, for me, that is fantastic. It proves that what Neil has taught me, I've managed to put that in place within the few hours that we've managed to be fishing. I've learned so much, we've caught fish, I've had a fantastic time, and I've got lots to go away with.
Now there's a saying in fishing that a few of you might not have heard, and it goes a little something like this. Anytime you visit a lake, take only memories, leave only footprints, and kill only time. Be lucky.